Excellent. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. It is now 6 o'clock p.m., September the 8th, 2020. I hereby call this meeting to order. Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Allegiance to the flag of the United
The United
States
States of America and to the republic for which it
one
stands,
nation,
one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Please remain standing for an invocation from our Mayor Pro Tem, Councilor Dennis Tim Salazar.
Yes, thank you, Mayor. Loving Heavenly Father, we come to you this hour asking for your blessing and help as we are gathered today. We pray for guidance in the matters at hand and ask that you would clearly show us how to conduct our work with a spirit of joy and enthusiasm. Give us a desire to find ways to excel in our work. Amen.
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 Please be seated.
Mayor, before we sit, could I ask for a moment of silence for Arthur H. Martinez, who is our city manager's grandfather? Could we please show a moment of respect for his service to education in our community and to the relationship to his grandson, our city manager, Xavier Martinez? Thank you.
And
Thank you. Please be seated.
City Manager, Mayor, may I ask also for a moment of silence for Mr. Ray Casillas, who passed away a few weeks ago. He was very instrumental, always promoting the city of Espanola. He was a very dedicated and loving person here in the Valley. He worked many years at KDCE and also KVAR as a radio DJ for many years, always promoting the city. Very good man, and I would just like to have a moment of silence for him. His famous quotation at the end of his show was always "Que musiquita, brother," and I would just like to have a moment for him and also the Garcia family for losing their beloved Ray Casillas. Thank you,
Thank
sir.
you very much.
Mayor, if I may just chime in a little bit with Councilor Manny Martinez. Mr. Casillas, Mr. Ray Casillas here in the Valley was a great man, and I got to speak with him every morning on a daily basis. And you tell him, Mr. Ray, ¿cómo estás? And he said, otro día, otra bendición. So he was a great man and a great loss to this community. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you. Now we may be seated. Thank you. Madam Clerk, can we please take roll and determine a quorum?
Councillor Dorothy Didi Valdez,
Present?
Councillor Justin Salazar Torres,
Present.
Councillor John Ramon Vigil, Mayor Pro Tem Dennis Tim Salazar,
Present.
Councillor Manuel J. Martinez,
Present.
Councillor Denise D. Benavides,
Present.
Councillor John L. Ritchie,
Present.
Councillor Peggy Sue Martinez.
Honored to be here.
We have a quorum.
Thank you very much for that. We'll now move on to the approval of the agenda. I'm sorry, 1 second.
I'm sorry, Honorable Mayor Javier E. Sanchez.
Oh, present as well. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
So now we'll go on to the approval of the agenda. Are there any questions or comments or movements?
Motion to approve, sir.
Second.
We have a motion from Councilor Justin Salazar Torres, and I believe a second from both Councilors Manny Martinez and Mayor Pro Tem Dennis Tim Salazar. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Very good. Can we take a quick roll, please? And before we do that, can we make sure that everybody silences their computers? I can hear some background interference. That was it. Thank you.
Okay. Councillor Peggy Sue Martinez,
In favor?
Counselor John L. Ritchie,
In favor.
Counselor Manuel J. Martinez,
In favor?
Counselor Denise D. Benavides,
In favor.
Mayor Pro Tem Dennis Tim Salazar,
For the motion.
Counselor Justin Salazar Torres,
In favor.
Counselor Didi Valdez.
For the motion.
Motion carries.
We'll now move on to the consent agenda for the approval of the minutes for the August 11th, 2020 City Council meeting minutes, as well as the August 25th, 2020 City Council meeting minutes. Do I hear a motion?
So move, sir.
Second.
Second?
We have a motion from Councillor Justin Salazar Torres and a second from Councillor Manny Martinez. Can we take a roll call vote?
Counselor Didi Valdez,
For the motion.
Counselor Justin Salazar Torres,
For the motion.
Mayor Pro Tem Dennis Tim Salazar,
For the motion.
Counselor Denise D. Benavides,
For the motion.
Counselor Manuel J. Martinez,
For the motion?
Counselor John L. Ritchie,
For the motion.
Counselor Peggy Sue Martinez.
In favor.
Motion carries.
Excellent. Thank you. We'll move right on to public commentary. Madam City Clerk, do we have anybody?
Yes, Honorable Mayor, we have Isaac Casados on behalf of the census and Roger Montoya.
Honorable Mayor, Mayor Pro Tem Dennis Salazar, councilors, it's my honor. Can I take this off?
Of course.
Okay, thank you. It's my honor to be before you tonight. As you know, the census is incredibly important and is something that provides a very unique opportunity for us to kind of come together as a community. We all know that the census collection date has been moved from October 31st to September 30th, and it's very important that this community does what they can to get counted. One of the things that the census or the Complete Count Committee has done over the last couple of weeks is engage a number of individuals, not just from sending our clerks out there to actually get people counted. We kicked off a big video campaign a couple of weeks ago. The mayor was very gracious to lend his voice, as well as the mayor pro tem. Thus far, those videos have achieved over 40,000 views in about 2 weeks. So it's working. It started the momentum and had people more aware of what we were really looking at. Over the last weekend, as well as the 2 preceding weekends that we'll be following, we're currently doing a Fiesta del Census at the Washington Federal Bank parking lot. This is a COVID-safe drive-through event. This past weekend had over 375 households that were covered. So approximately about 1,500 residents put in their names and were counted over the weekend. We're going to be doing the exact same thing this upcoming Saturday and Sunday, and the following Saturday and Sunday. The mayor has graciously said that he will be there on September 20th to help us out all day long. And really the request of me being here today is to kind of get everybody all hands on deck. We only have a couple of weeks to get our numbers where they're at. We're about 13 points from getting to the 41% that we were 10 years ago. I know we can surpass that if we really focus in on getting everybody together. One of the things that we're asking is the city of Espanola to provide us some volunteers, whether it be city staff, whether it be police, whether it be the fire department, to kind of show a united front in that force, and also have from the clerk's office as well as the counselors join us. It's really a good opportunity for us to allow you to speak to your constituents and really show that united front as much as possible. I don't know if people know or realize that $37,000 to $40,000 per individual is missed if we don't count that individual. And specifically in Espanola, we've always been the first to be the last, and now it's really an opportunity for us to be the first and lead the state and in the country, because this is the only drive-in census operation like this in the country. So if we can show the rest of the state and the rest of the country that we're doing it, and we're doing it first, we have an opportunity to really kind of catalyze our people. So we have reached out to the fire department. through John Wickersham, and we've asked for the big ladder truck to be out next weekend. So we would ask if, and I know Dennis Tim is going to bring this up in his remarks as well, to have some police there as well, and have you guys join us as a participatory part of this entire campaign that we're leading thus far.
All right. Thank you very much. And just as was mentioned, we want to get as much participation from the city and the councilors. I did put out a request for councilors who wanted to participate. We do have Councilor Denise Benavides, who graciously came back really quickly and said, yes, she wants to help. She will also be there on the 20th. We're looking at that was the 20th from 12 to 4. Any in time in between would be awesome. So as much participation as the city is allowed to give, we're certainly there, and we love the idea of having our fire department out there, trying to make it as inviting as possible to get people to commit to answering the questions on the census and getting us the the needed numbers that we need. We just have a quick comment from Councilor Peggy Sue Martinez.
Thank you, Mayor. I think one of the most important things that we need to put out there in the public eye is the fact that you no longer require a number to fill your census out. I know a lot of people had some confusion with that on the early going, including myself. Like, I kept waiting for a number to come in the mail and I never got the number, so I was a little bit worried about that. But I recently found out that you don't require that number anymore, that they did away with that idea. So it's really easy to do. It takes a matter of 2 minutes to fill it out online and about the same on the telephone. So I would urge anybody that's in the city of Espanola to please do what you can to get on top of it and fill it out as quickly as possible. Thank you, Mayor.
Counselor, just to kind of speak to that a little bit, some individuals are still requiring that number. So one of the things that we do ask them to do is to come to the drive-through event in the parking lot, and the census takers will be able to help them through that process, just to ensure that there's no confusion with if they require an ID or not.
Can you be a little more elaborate on that thought? Because I'm getting some mixed signals again. So,
correct. So there are some individuals who have been mailed a packet in the past that did have an ID number. And so really what they're trying to do is confirm that the individual is the individual that they say they are. So if they are having issues when they log on to 2020census.gov, just have them come to the parking lot and the census taker can help them through that process and get that whole ID issue kind of worked out.
absolutely. Thanks so much.
Thank you so much.
Thank you again for joining us. Ms. Velasquez, do we have anybody else?
No, Honorable Mayor, that concludes public comment.
Thank you very much. We'll now go on to committee chair updates and councillor comments. We'll go to Councillor Manny Martinez.
How come you always pick on me first there, Mr. Mayor?
Well, did I do so rightfully, however?
Yeah, yeah. I just want to thank the organizers, and I know a good friend of mine, Debbie, and I believe Andrew Herrera and their families. They've started this great little scavenger hunt with rocks and painting rocks and putting them throughout the city. And I just want to thank them because it's really kind of put an edge off, I think, for everybody to go search for rocks and paint rocks. And it's been actually a lot of fun. This weekend we found our first rock. We went for a ride, got a Coke, and it was exciting to find that first rock and then to go place it somewhere else. And I just want to thank them for that, because it's taken a lot of, I think, the edge off, and you can see in a lot of people they're really enjoying it. So I just want to thank them for bringing that forward. And I think it's been a great, like I said, it's been a way to ease some of this tension that's been going on for the last few months. And after speaking with Verna and the Espanola Valley Arts Festival, I think we're going to include that next year in the Espanola Valley Art Festival as one of possibly our contest is a rock painting contest. So I think we're going to include that in it, because we thought that was very nice. So I just wanted to say thank you and reach out to them and say thank you for that.
Thank you,
Actually,
Councillor.
then that's all I got. Not too much going on, Mayor.
Thank you, Counselor. We'll first go to next to Counselor Justin Salazar Torres, and then we'll go to Mayor Pro Tem Dennis Tim Salazar. Counselor Torres.
Thank you, Honorable Mayor. I just want to give an update on the Public Safety Committee meeting. We were able to meet for a short moment of time. Just wanted to let counselors know and yourself know, I know we've all received text messages from constituents of Valley Estates regarding traffic issues that they're having and so forth. They were a line item on our committee agenda, but I wanted to give them the respect to have our full committee present. So they will be moved to the October meeting, just so everybody knows. As always, public safety is a great committee and it was a good meeting. Thank you.
Thank you, Counselor. Mayor Pro Tem Dennis Tim Salazar.
Yes, thank you, Mayor. Just wanting to follow up in regards to the mayor's request for volunteers for the census, as well as Isaac Casados. Actually, I will get in contact with Isaac, but I would like to volunteer this coming Saturday for a few hours. But again, I'll be in contact with Isaac about that. Also, I would like to state and reiterate that this census is so very important for everybody to, to fill out the census. It's a quick and easy form. Again, this Fiesta del Census is going to be at the Washington Federal, and it's occurring over the next 2 weekends, this coming Saturday, Sunday, and then the following Saturday and Sunday from 10 o'clock to 4 p.m. Just like Isaac had mentioned, it'd be good if possible to get, 20 volunteers or even more if at all possible. The better the presence, the more people will know about this and, getting the word out as well. I'm also requesting if at all possible, we could get our Chief Roger Jimenez in contact with Isaac or, vice versa, just to be able to discuss specifics, because I think it would be a good idea of, the police department would be able to go along with the fire department as well. Maybe a few units with some lights on to attract people to the Washington Federal for the census as well. I know John Wickersham as well has already spoken with Isaac Casales as well. But again, I would just like to reiterate how important the census is. And again, for Espanola Valley, for the Rio Arriba County, for the state of New Mexico, there's millions of dollars at stake here for several causes. So again, just try to fill out your census, even if you don't go to this event. It's so important. The final date will be September 30th. That's in about 22 days. So that'll be here before we know it. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you. Do we have any further comments or questions? We have one coming from Madam City Clerk, Ms. Velasquez.
Yes, thank you, Mayor. I just wanted to wish my sister Selena a very happy birthday, who's at my grandma's house right now eating pozole, and to let her know I'm very proud of her with her new position as the head athletic trainer at Espanola High School. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam City Clerk. We have Councilor Denise Benavides.
Thank you, Mayor. Nothing regarding finance. We have an upcoming meeting so that we can go over some of those numbers. But I did want to mention, I think everybody saw the beautiful mural of Mr. Anaya. We are in process of planning a dedication for the family. So just look out for some more information to come. Thanks.
Excellent. I did see that. It looks amazing. Thank you. Do we have any other comments or questions from councilors? Very good. Seeing none, we'll now go on to matters from the mayor. Today, we have a proclamation acknowledging that September is Suicide Awareness and Prevention Month. I know that this is a situation and a month that has touched a lot of us in many different ways. We've recognized as a community that through our partnership with each other, our friendships with each other, we find strength and unity, and more importantly, we find reason for existence. A lot of the times and all too often, some of us tend to either forget that or be neglected. And sometimes we wonder about why we're here. Anytime that happens, we can easily spiral into a situation that makes us feel like it might not be worth going through. So we each have our own story and we each have our own situations. And I think that this is one of those times that we can look to each other for hope and for solidarity and for friendship. So if you would, bear with me, I'd like to read this proclamation because it's something that's meaningful to all of us. whereas in the United States, one person dies by suicide every 12 minutes, with over 44,000 deaths by suicide annually. Whereas the suicide rate is 22.49% in New Mexico. And whereas in our country, suicide is the second leading cause of death for 15 to 24-year-olds and is the 10th leading cause of death for people of all ages. Whereas each person's death by suicide intimately affects at least 6 other people, with over 250,000 newly bereaved each year. And whereas depression affects approximately 20 to 25% of all Americans, and whereas many of those people who died never received effective behavioral health services for many reasons, including the difficulty of accessing services by healthcare providers trained in best practices to reduce suicide risk, or the stigma of using behavioral health treatment and the stigma associated with losing a loved one to suicide. Whereas the governing body of the City of Espanola and the representatives of behavioral health organizations, state agencies, military veterans organizations, educational institutions, and the community at large who are dedicated to reducing the frequency of suicide attempts and deaths, and the pain for those affected by suicide deaths through research projects, educational programs, intervention services, and bereavement services, urges that all citizens, 1, recognize suicide as a significant public health problem in the City of Espanola and declare suicide prevention a community priority. 2, support the development of accessible behavioral health services for all ages, implementing national best practices in reducing suicide risk. 3, acknowledge that no single suicide prevention effort will be sufficient or appropriate for all populations or communities. And 4, encourage initiatives based on the goals and activities contained in the National Strategy for Suicide Prevention, Yellow Ribbon Suicide Prevention Program, Zero Suicide of the National Action Alliances for Suicide Prevention, and the Way Forward by the Action Alliance's Suicide Attempt Survivor Task Force. Whereas far too many New Mexicans die by suicide each year, and most of these deaths are preventable. Now, therefore, I, Javier E. Sanchez, Mayor of the City of Espanola, New Mexico, in recognition of Suicide Prevention and Awareness Month, hereby proclaim this what is it today? The 8th day of September 2020 as Suicide Prevention and Awareness Month in the City of Espanola, New Mexico, USA. Thank you very much. We have a comment, and Mr. Mayor Pro Tem Dennis Tim Salazar has the floor.
Mayor, thank you so much for this beautiful, powerful proclamation and the words. Thank the city clerk's office as well in regards to helping to create this proclamation. And since you've become mayor, thank you for your support regarding this very important cause to the city council and to the entire city as a whole. As our mayor mentioned, this is something very important, and in regards to our community at large, if we could just make one person think twice about this, I think we've done our job in regards to helping them. A lot of the times people think that maybe they're a bother. They don't want to bother other people. Maybe they feel like, their situation is isolated. It's very important to reach out to counseling. Nothing's wrong with that. I do know that a lot of individuals from our older generation, more specifically that I've seen, they've been too proud to ask for help. They want to do it on their own. They want to be able to lift everything on their shoulders and take care of their family, take care of their job, take care of everything that's going on. But just please know that there's help. There's help for everybody. I think, as most of you know, I have been directly affected with suicide. And being involved with this is something that is so hard, so very hard to overcome. Back in January of 1994, I did lose my father to suicide. That's January of 1994. I've never got over it. I never will. But at the same time, as time passes, you learn how to deal with it, but it hurts just as much in losing a family member. I remember my dad's smell. I remember his voice. I remember his hug. I remember his advice. And I'm so thankful to have him my entire teen years up to my age of 20 years old to guide me and to mentor me. At the same time, a lot of people don't have that because of a lot of our youth are looking, to commit suicide. They're thinking this is the only way out. Our military, our police, our fire department, if you can only stop and think and imagine what they go through day in and day out, what they carry with them when they're going out on the job. And then by the time they come home at night to their families, or if they're all alone. So with that said, just please everybody take that opportunity to look at your loved ones, to look at yourself, and to know there's help. There's people that want to help. There's good people all over this world, all over our city, all over our county. And it's very important to do that. And again, I know a lot of the time people think that I don't want to bother this person. Oh, it's so much of an inconvenience. Whether they're suffering from depression, whether they're suffering from bills, maybe they're unhappy with their job, maybe they're unhappy with their personal life, whatever it may be. As they say, the storm comes, the clouds come, but you know what? The very next day, it's clear again. The bright blue skies, if you just give it the opportunity. All of us are going through something, whether right now or at different times in our lives. There's always going to be something that's going on, but just, it's so very important just to keep that hope and to keep moving forward. Keep moving forward. Again, Mayor, thank you so much for this opportunity. This is very heartfelt and it really means a lot to me. In regards to contact information or a suicide hotline, they're always there to listen. The number is 1-800-273-8255. Again, 800-273-8255. These are trained professionals that are here to listen to you with whatever you may be going through, and it's confidential as well. Also, the New Mexico Crisis Line is 855-662-7474. Again, 855-662-7474. Again, they're trained professionals. They're here to listen to you and to help to get you through this, and it is confidential. Again, Mayor, thank you so much for bringing this forward as you have every September since you have been here. And let's just continue pushing forward, not only in the month of September because it's Suicide Awareness Month, but let's try to do it all the time. Show some generosity to others and lend a helping hand. Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem. And I think you said it best when you said, let's just show some generosity. I appreciate that very much. Sentiments go out to you and your family. And we'll now move on to matters from the city manager. We have department reports. Mr. City Manager, Javier Martinez, go ahead.
Good evening, Honorable Mayor, members of the governing body. Does everybody hear me okay?
Yes.
Yes. Great. Thank you. I know that I've had issues with the mics in other Zoom meetings, so I want to make sure that everybody hears me tonight. First of all, I want to say, Mayor Pro Tem Dennis Tim Salazar, thank you for sharing your story on this, and it's very heartfelt, as the mayor said as well. So with that said, before you, there's a hyperlink for department reports. I'm going to go pretty briefly on some highlighted areas that I want to bring everybody up to speed with. So right now we have quite a few projects going on with State Road 76 that we're going to start. We officially had we signed the contractor this past Friday, September 4th, to proceed. We're looking at to start on September 28th on that. So it gives them 2 weeks to get all the information, get bonded and all that. So just for FYI, State Road 76 is on schedule to proceed forward on the end of this month. Also, Camino Miramontes, we're working with Sauter Miller and Associates for the completion of the 30% engineered plans and moving forward on that. Also, Calle Redonda project that's going forward in regards to resurfacing of that street. Also, Coronado Water Line Project, Public Works Director is working with our procurement manager to complete the scope of work to proceed on that. I also just want to mention in regards in the works of some grant agreements that have been released to us. The Riverside LED light replacement of $500,000. We're working with a CES company to start getting that money going and moving forward on those projects. Construction of the Espanola Firehouse number 4 of $700,000. We're working on that as well, moving forward. Valdez Park improvements of $300,000. I just want to make note that all of this is capital outlay that was released just recently within the last 2 months to proceed on this forward. Because as you all know, that the governor had frozen these assets temporarily through COVID. So now that we got the okay to proceed, we're getting the momentum rolling forward to get this money allocated to us and used up. Also, the Espanola Police Department for police cars of $140,000. And also, if you saw, I forwarded an email that we were awarded a CARES Act funding of close to $1.2 million, and also an additional $426,000 for small business grant aid as well. So we are processing that. You know, unfortunately, we have a very short time to use those funds. We just have till the end of this calendar year to use these funds. So our staff are working hard to make sure that we are crossing our T's and dotting our I's, making forward that we are using this money for its purpose and intention is for. As Councilor Denise Benavides had mentioned about the mural at the north wall of the library at Lucero Center of Rodolfo Anaya, I want to give a great shout out to Miss Maya Peña and her father Luis Peña that gave and volunteered their time at the senior center to create this mural and place it up there, and also to our GSD department with Jeff Sargent to get it mounted onto the wall and secure it for us there. So before, there's quite a few items, but I will let you glance through all these items, and if you have any questions in the near future, please call me or email me and I can fill you in on more details in regards to the department reports. But I just want to kind of give a brief overview on the current projects that we have that are pretty big, and that our staff, without them, none of this could happen. So I want to thank from ASD, GSD, Community Services, Planning and Land, PD, Fire, you name it, every clerk's department, every single department takes part in any little aspect that we do in regards to this to make our city flourish. With that said, I'd like to jump to the next item. Unless anybody has any questions right now on the department reports, I would be happy to answer them right now.
Melissa, I can't see.
I have a question, Mayor.
We have Councilor Manny Martinez, and then was that you, Councilor Peggy Sue Martinez?
Yes, sir.
Okay, we'll go right after Councilor Manny Martinez. Go ahead.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Mayor. City Manager Martinez, just a question. I'm glad, and it's great to see the projects that are moving forward. I'd love to see that. It looks great. Is there anything in the near future as far as East Pueblo Street, maybe even getting resurfaced, and maybe not the whole road, but in certain areas it's really getting dilapidated in those certain areas, especially when you head towards La Jolla Street and that area. I don't know if that's in any of the works coming up, sir.
Thank you, Councilor Manny Martinez. Great question. With that, I'll go ahead and yield the floor to either our grants manager, Diane Hawkes, or our Public Works Director, Mr. Steven Trujillo, to answer that on those details.
Good evening, City Manager, Honorable Mayor, members of the governing body. We do have East Pueblo listed as one of our priorities, and that is a project that we can actively seek plan and design funding for. It's my understanding that the work involved will be quite extensive, so it will require engineering. So we will have to approach it from a plan and design perspective.
Thank you, Ms. Hawkins. Thank you for that update on that. Where do we go from here as far as moving it into that situation?
Counselor Martinez, consider it done. I will put it on my list to be attentive, looking for different types of funding.
Well, thank you so much, Ms. Hawkins. Mr. Martinez, just a quick question on the 76 project that they'll be starting out the end of September. When will residents in that area be able to start signing up or do what they need to do to get hooked up into that line, sir?
Councilor Manuel Martinez, so I believe that we can go ahead and have citizens come in and start signing anytime. There's not really a start date, but if they're welcome to call in the utilities department, we can gladly get their information to proceed forward.
Okay, thank you, sir. And thank you, Mayor.
Thank you. Councilor Peggy Sue Martinez, you have the floor.
Thank you, Mayor. Mr. Martinez, thank you for the update and thank you for the progress on all the projects. Looks like you've been very busy. The question that I have concerns the CARE Act funding and the 426 that is allocated for granting of small businesses or businesses here in the community. I'm curious to know if you have developed some type of rubrics that will guide business owners as to how to go about applying for the money and receiving the money.
Yes, thank you, Councilor Peggy Sue Martinez. With that said, we have had a great team here with the city collaborating with both Santa Fe County and Rio Arriba County in regards to these fundings. With that said, I will yield the floor to our Planning and Land Use Director, Mr. Richard Hubler, who has been one of the spearhead initiative individuals with this CARES Act funding.
Thank you, Mr. City Manager. Members of the governing body, can you hear me okay?
Yes, sir.
I'm going to pass this credit directly on to Allison Gillette, who's done the vast majority of the work on this, particularly on the business side. She's currently actively working as one of her many roles as our economic development planner for the city. So as part of the funding for that, we have the opportunity and have decided to spend a small percentage of that money, about 5%, to hire a consultant to help us administer these grants. It's a relatively loose and open program. There's some paperwork that's suggested by the state that we're adapting. We're in the process of finding that person and getting their contract set up so we can get this money flowing out as rapidly as possible. The goal behind it is to serve as many businesses as we can. So we've got tentatively an idea that we're going to set an initial cap on what those applications look like. The hope is that we can get money out to small businesses. It's limited to small businesses with less than 50 employees already, but we want to really focus on that. And so this person is going to be doing a lot of individual outreach to advise folks of the program and to see if there's other ways that we can help support their success as well. So that is actively being developed as we speak. And as soon as we have more details on the specifics of that, we'll certainly be sharing it far and wide with everybody. And we received this money on behalf of the entirety of Rio Arriba County. As we came together to address the CARES grant application several weeks ago, we partnered with both Santa Fe County and Rio Arriba County to figure out who was best suited to go after certain aspects of this funding. Rio Arriba County, for instance, is doing some of the projects related to human services and housing and the programs that they've already got, bolstering the programs they've already got. So we're doing this for throughout the county in addition to the city limits of Espanola, but we'll have more details on that as they get developed, and we'll certainly share them with you.
Mr. Hubler, could you give me like the basic priorities of that grant? What was beyond sustaining local business, is it to keep people hired, or what's the main priority of it?
Absolutely, Counselor. So this grant is designed to help address those additional costs that small businesses incurred to deal with the coronavirus. So it's not directly the PPP or the payment replacement kind of thing. The goal kind of that we got from the state and the way that our program is set up is more about the hard costs, whether that be PPE for staff, plexiglass shields, whether that be tents for parking lot dining. A variety of different opportunities exist here. The thing is that it'll need to be a receipted expense that either occurred between March and now, or something that a business is doing now to continue to operate. So it's both past and future expenses. Any of the costs that are incurred between March and December of this year.
Thank you, Mr. Hubler, and be sure and thank Allison also.
Will do.
Mayor Sanchez, any other questions from other councilors? I don't see the screen.
We have a question from Councilor Justin Salazar Torres.
Thank you, Honorable Mayor. City Manager, Mr. Martinez, I know we've gone down this road before, but regarding Godfrey Lane on South McCurdy, wondering what we can do to help these folks out. If you look down the road, this road looks like it has a bunch of craters down it. And I fear as we enter the winter months and as the weather progresses, just need to assist these folks. I know this road is not a city road, but seeing what we can do to help them out.
Councilor Justin Salazar Torres, we will definitely look into it, sir, with our streets department and with our public works director.
Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you, City Manager. That concludes the department reports.
Okay, yeah, and just really quick, Honorable Mayor, members of the governing body, one last thing, we did officially close on the purchase of two separate parcels of property this past Friday, September 4th. So we are officially, the city is the official owner of the 1.7 acres south of the Lucero Center and the 1.34 acres at the end of Angel Duran Street off of Fairview Lane. So just to keep you abreast of that we officially closed and we are the official owners of those properties. I will be working heavily with our streets and general services department to see about getting that field to the south of Valdez Park cleaned up now that it's officially ours. With that said, Honorable Mayor, with your permission, I'm going to go ahead and proceed to the next item on the agenda in regards to under city manager items. I'd like to recognize our general services director, Mr. Jeff Sargent, with a certificate of appreciation. It's not really the employee of the month. It's pretty much the employee of the summer, employee of the COVID pandemic, as I like to put it. Mr. Sargent has been given valiant efforts to ensure the safety of the workplace and citizens of Española, working diligently from March till now into the future to make sure that every single member of the city staff and governing body is well informed moving forward on every aspect of this pandemic going forward, coordinating with Rio Arriba County, Los Alamos County, Santa Fe County, with the state. And I'd like to mention that Mr. Jeff Sargent also took on this extra role. Not only he's the general services director that oversees general services and fleet, but he put on that extra hat when this pandemic started in March to jump on this role and did it so professionally and without equivocation, just on it throughout the whole term. When the city was tasked by the governor to implement a strong stay-at-home order, we've put the employees on a rotating schedule. Mr. Jeff Sargent was here 5 days a week, 8+ hours a day. So in that, I want to recognize Mr. Jeff Sargent for his well-deserved appreciation for this. Thank you, Mr. Sargent.
Go ahead, Mr. Sargent, please.
Thank you, everybody. It's very much appreciated and a humbling experience. Like I said, since the beginning when I started employment with the city, it is my honor to work with everybody and to serve our community. So thank you very much.
Mr. Sargent, I'd like to be the first to, second after city manager did that. But, I really want to say thank you so much because you have given all of us the tools to make better decisions. And you've certainly helped me to bring that information and the tools to the people so that they can make the decisions that are best for them and their families. And of course, coordinating with the ever-changing health orders. And I just wanted to say thank you very much for keeping track of all of that information. I know it's a lot to handle and keep, and on top of the information and bringing that to us, as was stated earlier, you're making sure that everybody has the proper PPE and everything else that's necessary to keep going. So really heartfelt thank you so much for handling the summer of COVID 2020. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Mayor.
All right, very good. Mr. Martinez, back to you.
Thank you, Honorable Mayor. With that said, again, thank you again, Mr. Sergeant. My hat's off to you, sir, and a great job that you have done, are doing, and will continue to do. Thank you. With that said, I'll move to letter F on Roman numeral number 9, approval of addendum to NeoTouch service agreement for a 2-month trial term. So with this is a contract to do a trial basis with the utilities department or customer services department to see about getting the bills sent out digitally through so we're passing this services out to another entity. That way our staff is not doing it by hand with the mailer in the room. So before you, I have this agreement before you for approval. I open to any questions that you may have.
Do I see any questions from any counselors?
I have a question, sir.
Councilor Peggy Sue Martinez.
Thank you. Mr. Martinez, concerning the contract before us, it's a trial duration of 2 months, ¿verdad?
Councilor Peggy Sue, that is correct, ma'am. And this is the an addendum to the current agreement that we currently have with the mail sorting machine that we currently have in the utility office.
So this is the same company that provides us with that sorting machine.
That is correct, ma'am.
So it's going to be a little more extensive now because they're looking at electronic billing and stuff like that.
Councilor Peggy Sue Martinez, so what this will do is that we will get all the data and we will just submit all the data, and this company will be responsible of mailing all the bills out within 24 hours. That's their guarantee. So they're responsible of putting it in the envelope, sorting it and mailing it, posting it, everything. All we do is just click the button, send the data to them, and they are responsible on getting the bills out in a time frame that we agree upon.
What would that cost the city if we were out of the trial period? Could you discuss that a little bit, please?
Yes, of course, Councilor Peggy Sue Martinez and members of the council, Honorable Mayor. So right now we are tied to a lease agreement on that mailer machine for the next 7 months. So there is no way to get out of it. The contract stipulates that we have to, if we want to exit the contract, we have to just pay out the remainder months that we have available. And that's an average about $700 a month that we pay for that machine. So with this trial basis, we're just going to pay for the next 2 services. We're going to just pay what the company expends in paper envelopes and the bills, which we already incur that cost ourselves already. And of course, the postage. At the end of the 2 terms or the 2 months of the trial basis, we can opt to go into a contract. And right now we pay roughly about a little over $1,000 a month for the services that we provide now. With how they're trying to do it, because they'll absorb some of that contract, because we are continuing to go with them. We're looking at the cost for the next the term of the contract that we have with them. It's a decrease maybe about $60 a month, but after the term of the agreement, we'll be saving close to $500 a month.
Oh wow, that's very interesting. Okay, thank you very much for the information. I certainly appreciate it.
Yes, thank you, Councilor.
Do we have any other questions or a motion on the floor?
I'd like to make a motion, sir, to enter into this 2-month duration contract.
Second.
Thank you for the motion, Councilor Manny Martinez, and a quick second from Councilor Justin Salazar Torres. Can we take a roll call vote, please?
Counselor Peggy Sue Martinez,
In favor of the motion?
Counselor John L. Ritchie,
In favor.
Counselor Manuel J. Martinez,
In favor of the motion?
Counselor Denise D. Benavides,
In favor.
Mayor Pro Tem Dennis Tim Salazar,
In favor?
Counselor Justin Salazar Torres,
In favor.
Counselor Didi Valdez.
For the motion.
Motion carries.
Excellent. Thank you very much. Mr. Martinez, I think we'll now go on to business with visitors unless there was anything else that you had.
Honorable Mayor, members of the governing body, that concludes matters from the city manager. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, sir. So now we'll go on to businesses with visitors. We have a presentation by Mahesh Sita of Tobacco Preemption American Heart Association.
Yeah. Honorable Mayor Sanchez and Honorable Mayor Pro Tem Salazar and honorable members of the City Council. My name is Mahesh Sita, and I'm the Government Relations Director for the American Heart Association here in New Mexico. And I also have my colleague, Josh Martinez here. And I want to briefly introduce Josh. I mean, he's from Espanola, and Josh.
Sure, thank you, Mahesh. Yes, Honorable Mayor Sanchez, City Councilors, thank you so much for the opportunity to be with you this evening. Again, my name is Joshua Martinez. I'm the Community Impact Director for the American Heart Association of New Mexico. And I know most of you, but for those of you that don't know me, I'm originally from Chimayo, a proud graduate of Espanola Valley High School. My parents are Jimmy S. and Teresa Martinez of Chimayo. I'm the brother of James J. Martinez, the Rio Arriba County Commissioner, and also the son-in-law of Honorable Espanola Municipal Court Judge Stephen and Renee Salazar. So a lot of ties and, of course, friends and family who live in the Espanola Valley. We visit often. I currently live in Albuquerque with my wife and our 2 kids. But we visit often, and Espanola is always will always have a special place in my heart, and always will always be home. So in my current role with the American Heart Association, anytime that there's a program or initiative or resource available to help the Espanola Valley, I'm always eager to reach out to whomever I need to try to get these programs and resources available and implemented throughout the Espanola Valley. In the past, we've worked very closely with Rio Arriba County, not only the commission, who has passed several resolutions in support of the American Heart Association's initiatives, some of which we'll discuss this evening, but also with the county's Health and Human Services around blood pressure initiatives. We've worked with El Centro Family Health, with our clinical programs around cholesterol and hypertension. And we also worked with the Espanola Public Schools around the vaping and e-cigarette epidemic that has affected all our communities throughout the country, and our youth throughout the country. This is an issue that's very important and a hot topic right now, and it's killing lots of young people and adults. And it's an issue that we will bring to you this evening to discuss further. But, the whole mission of the American Heart Association is to help communities and help individuals live healthier, longer lives. And, with your support and your help, we'll hopefully be able to do that on some of these key initiatives that Mr. Sita will address in more detail. But again, I just thank you for the opportunity tonight. You know, I'm always rooting for the Espanola Valley and supporting in any way that I can. So thank you all for your work that you do every day, for your service, and I appreciate you all. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Josh. Honorable Mayor and honorable council members. Today, you know, we like to discuss with you, you know, repealing the tobacco preemption in the state law. Right now, cities such as, you know, Espanola, you know, you don't have the authority to regulate the sales of tobacco, especially e-cigarettes within your community. And the state law preempts, you know, you from taking any additional, you know, stricter measures to control sales of tobacco products, you know, aimed at kids within your own community. Just briefly, in 2020 30-day session, we had a comprehensive tobacco legislation that finally licensed all tobacco retailers in New Mexico and raised the age to 21 to buy tobacco products. And one of the provisions in there was to repeal, you know, the preemption and give more authority to local municipalities so they can better, if they want to have a stricter regulations in their communities, they can adopt those. But, you know, that provision was taken out. You know, as you know, the tobacco lobby is pretty strong. And, you know, we were not able to, you know, get enough support, you know, to get that measure passed. And that measure was supported by the governor. But, you know, we had a bill that was licensing, you know, for the first time in New Mexico history, all tobacco retailers. So we said, we can fight this battle some other day. So we decided to bring this issue back in 2021. And then we are going around the state, you know, urging, you know, support from local communities. What preemption, if you repeal preemption and give you, just briefly, I'll tell you, like, you know, in 2019, New Mexico Department of Health, they surveyed 7,600 high school kids in New Mexico. And they asked them, you know, the simple question, did you vape or did you smoke e-cigarettes in the last 30 days? I think nearly 35% of the high school kids surveyed in that poll said yes. You know, they've smoked e-cigarettes in the last, you know, 30 days. And then, you know, the same survey was done in 2017, and that number was 25%. So within 2 years, you know, there's 10% increase in kids, high school kids, you know, vaping, using e-cigarettes. And nationally, that's the trend. And, you know, we understand this product is here. It's going to be used, but we want to make sure, you know, kids don't have easy access to e-cigarettes and vaping. And, you know, just for the record, is like, it took us 50 years, you know, to bring down, you know, traditional smoking among youth in New Mexico to about 9.5%. But in the last 4 years, e-cigarette use among young people, high school kids, went from less than 10% to 35%. So this is the trend we're seeing throughout the country, and New Mexico is no exception. And as you know, the tobacco industry, you know, they target communities of color and low-income communities, and they use aggressive marketing techniques, point of sale advertising to entice kids into, you know, smoking or vaping. And vaping, e-cigarettes have 5 times more nicotine levels than your ordinary, you know, traditional cigarettes. And nicotine is highly addictive, and kids who are hooked on them, they have a hard time, you know, quitting, you know, e-cigarettes. So the tobacco company has been pushing this product as a cessation product for smoking, but that's blatantly false. I mean, there is no research, there is no scientific evidence that, you know, taking up e-cigarettes will help you quit smoking. And FDA hasn't approved, that theory at all. So we are trying to address this issue through local ordinances. And, we're asking, you to consider, adopting a resolution, that would urge, the state legislature and the governor to repeal, the preemption and give you more authority to regulate tobacco sales within your community. And the preemption clause was included in the state law only in 2015. And it was not a coincidence that this happened. The tobacco industry pushed this because if you remember, 2015 was the year when e-cigarettes were taken off. They're becoming more popular among young kids. And Juul came into the market. They were pushing aggressively marketing to young kids. So they didn't want local communities to control, the sales of e-cigarettes within their communities. So they went and, put the preemption in our law. I mean, before that, there was no preemption. It's very similar to alcohol sales in New Mexico. I mean, right now you have control on alcohol sales within your community. I mean, if you want to go dry, you have that option. But with tobacco sales, you don't. And one of the benefits of if you repeal preemption, if City of Espanola wants to like ban certain flavors, like menthol, mint, and watermelon. These are some of the favorite flavors kids are addicted to. You can say, we're not going to sell these flavors in our community. And then currently the law is like, you can have, the new law that goes into effect on January 1st, 2021 says you can't have a smoke shop or any tobacco product sold within, 300 feet of a school. 300 feet is not too much. That's 100 yards. And, and it says only schools. It doesn't say anything about, public parks, baseball fields, skateboard parks, other community centers where young kids, hang out. And, you could, if the repeal is done, Espanola can say, we're going to set this limit to 1,000 feet or 2,000 feet. And you can include not only schools, but all other places where kids hang out. And then you can control the density of these stores within your community. And the tobacco industry is they've been doing this for a long time, is they concentrate their stores in low income and communities of color, because they know rich kids with cars would drive up and get their product. And they do aggressive marketing, point of sale advertising, where they say, buy one, get one free, 50% off, 75% off. And they have like fancy signs to attract kids. You can restrict point of sale, all that advertising. And then you could also, get, if you want to ban certain flavors, cigarettes, menthol. So these are the steps you could take. If the repeal is it goes through. And at American Heart Association, we are, we want to reduce the rates of e-cigarette use among our youth in New Mexico to a single digit level where kids are not hooked. We're not creating a new generation of nicotine addicts, down the line, like who have, complicated, health issues with their, heart disease, diabetes, hypertension, all that comes with, smoking. And so we're asking you, Honorable Mayor and the council, to consider passing the resolution. I think I attached a draft resolution for your consideration to pass it and send a message to, the legislature and the governor, this is an issue in our community, and we know our community better than anyone else, and we can handle this, situation in Espanola, because you are the leaders of your community. You know your community better than, we believe, the state legislature. So for those reasons, we're asking you to consider, adopting this resolution, and we'll be glad to answer any questions, Mayor.
Thank you very much for the presentation. And we appreciate the fact that we're just trying to decrease the amount and percentage and usage of nicotine in all of its forms. So do we have any questions or comments from councilors?
I have a comment, sir.
Yes, Councilor Peggy Sue Martinez.
Thank you, Mayor. I just want to thank the two presenters and just say that I really believe that it's important that we as a governing body take this as serious as we can and look to the future at any kind of ways to discourage nicotine use, especially by the youth in this community. I look around different areas where we have younger people congregating, and you always see that they have the vape pens and stuff like that going on. And I think it's very important that we do whatever we can to try and address this situation. So we appreciate their help in guiding us and leading us and possibly running different types of ordinance through them and see if we can do something to make things a little bit better in that regard. Thank you.
Thank you. We have a comment from, is that, yes, Mr. Mayor Pro Tem Dennis Tim Salazar.
Yes, thank you, Mayor. Mr. Sita, Mr. Martinez, thank you so much for coming before our city council tonight with this very important information. I think it is something very important that us as a governing body be able to discuss further as again, it affects the health of our city and our community members as well. Mr. Sita or Mr. Martinez, you have gone before the city of Albuquerque. If I'm correct, I would like to, if at all possible, if you could speak a little bit about that.
Yeah, Honorable Mayor and Mayor Pro Tem Salazar, I think just this afternoon, I was before Las Cruces City Council. They adopted the resolution, and we also had Albuquerque Public Schools adopted, the resolution, and then Albuquerque City Council is taken up on next week, the 18th, and then tomorrow I have this council. Las Vegas City Council is going to pass this resolution tomorrow. So, and then we're working with the Santa Fe County, Santa Fe City, Doniana County, Silver City, and then Rio Rancho, Sandoval County. So we're reaching out to, all the cities and counties. We feel we need their support. I think my colleague Josh mentioned, I think it was last week, the Rio Arriba County adopted the resolution, the same resolution. So we're reaching out and getting as many grassroots support as possible.
Thank you, Mr. Sita. Mr. Mayor, if I may, do a little bit of a follow-up at all.
Of course.
Thank you, sir. In regards to that, I think you guys have worked hard to be able to get a few communities involved, of course, counties and municipalities. So at this time, I would just request if our city council, our governing body, could be able to look into this further and be able to discuss this further to again, work with Mr. Sita and Mr. Martinez with whatever information we need and bring this to the city council at a future time for a possible vote if we can, but at the same time, at least initial discussion within the city council, if at all possible. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, sir. Any other comments or questions? Thank you very much, Mr. Sita and Mr. Martinez. We appreciate you joining us tonight.
Thank you, Mayor, and we appreciate the opportunity to inform you, and then we'll be glad to work with you on any issues, and please let us know if you have any questions. We'll be glad to answer, and we look forward to having that discussion where we hope you would consider adopting the resolution. Thank you, sir.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, so now we'll go on to Roman numeral 11. We have items proposed for council consideration, discussion items, and action items. First up is letter H, a bar resolution 2020-25, a City of Espanola budget adjustment resolution approving increase of fiscal year 2021 revenues and expenditures in the amount of $64,550 for the fire fund. We have this presented by Administrative Services Director, Ms. Jessica Ortiz.
Good evening, Honorable Mayor, members of the governing body. I come before you tonight to respectfully request approval of Resolution 2020-25, a resolution approving the increase of revenues and expenditures in the amount of $64,550 for the fire fund. And I just wanted to let you all know this is carryover funds from fiscal year 20. So we're just seeking budget authority so we can establish in the system.
Motion to approve as stated, sir.
Second.
Thank you very much. We have a motion from Councilor Peggy Sue Martinez and a second from Councilor Manny Martinez for discussion. Any questions or comments? And before you do, I'd just like to remind you, it's best to turn on your video so that I can get to you. It makes it so much easier for me on my end. Councilor Justin Salazar Torres.
Thank you, Mayor. Jessica, again, these funds are going to be utilized for?
This Honorable Mayor, Councilors, Justin Salazar Torres, members of the governing body, this is carryover cash that was left over this last fiscal year. And so it'll be used for maintenance and equipment for the fire fund.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilor. Seeing no further questions, we have a motion from Councilor Peggy Sue Martinez and a second from Councilor Manny Martinez. Can we take a roll call vote?
Councilor Didi Valdez,
For the motion.
Councilor Justin Salazar Torres,
In favor.
Mayor Pro Tem Dennis Tim Salazar,
For the motion.
Councilor Denise D. Benavides,
In favor.
Councilor Manuel J. Martinez,
For the motion.
Councilor John L. Ritchie,
In favor.
Councilor Peggy Sue Martinez.
In favor.
Motion carries.
Thank you very much. We'll now move on to letter I, Resolution 2020-26, approval of 2020, what is this, 2022 through 2026 City of Espanola Infrastructure Capital Improvement Plan. We have this once again presented by Grants Manager, Ms. Diane Hawkes.
Good evening, Honorable Mayor, members of the governing body. Here this evening respectfully requesting approval of Resolution 2020-26. And this is authorizing me to submit the proposed ICIP to DFA. The spreadsheet I attached as packet material is all the projects based on input from department heads, directors, everybody else involved in the process. This is the outcome of all that feedback. So the projects highlighted in yellow were what I had proposed at the last meeting at the bottom of my spreadsheet. The yellow portions indicate their integration into the ICIP. I stand for any questions.
Thank you, Ms. Hawkes.
Motion to approve, sir.
Second.
We have a motion from Councilor Justin Salazar Torres and a second from Councilor John Ritchie. Do we have any comments or questions?
Mayor.
Are you on the screen there somewhere? Okay, Councilor Peggy Sue Martinez.
Thank you, Mayor. So I am looking at the packet and I don't see the ICIP list that she's referring to. So I don't know.
Madam City Clerk.
Yes, Mayor, just give me just one moment.
I don't have that on mine, I guess. I'm on the city webpage on one computer and I'm on the.
You refresh your computer. And this is exactly the way it was presented during the meeting that we had 2 weeks ago.
Correct.
Okay, it's there now. Okay,
All right, very good. So any other comments or questions? Seeing none, we have a motion on the floor from Councillor Justin Salazar Torres for approval and a second from Councillor John Ritchie. Can we take a roll call vote, please?
Counselor Peggy Sue Martinez,
in favor.
Counselor John L. Ritchie,
In favor.
Counselor Manuel J. Martinez,
In favor of the motion?
Counselor Denise D. Benavides,
In favor.
Mayor Pro Tem Dennis Tim Salazar,
In favor.
Counselor Justin Salazar Torres,
In favor.
Counselor Dorothy Didi Valdez.
For the motion.
Motion carries.
Excellent. Thank you very much. We now move on to letter J, Bar Resolution 2020-27, a resolution of the City of Espanola to increase revenues and expenditures in the amount of $140,000 to purchase and equip vehicles for the Espanola Police Department from capital outlay funds. Ms. Diane Hawkes.
Honorable Mayor, members of the governing body, I'm respectfully requesting approval of Resolution 2020-27 to establish budget authority in the amount of $140,000 revenues and expenditures in order for our police department to acquire additional police units. This funding is provided to us by capital outlay again this year.
Motion to approve, sir.
Second.
We have a motion from Councillor Justin Salazar Torres, and I believe the second came from Councillor John Ritchie again. Do we have any comments or questions for discussion?
Under comments, Mayor, do we know exactly how many units will be purchased with this amount?
And once again, if it would really be helpful if we turned the video on, especially if we're asking questions, that comes in very handy. Ms. Hawkes.
Honorable Mayor, Councilor Peggy Sue Martinez, members of the governing body. So this 140,000 will likely buy about 2.5 cars, I believe. We received capital outlay funding last year in the amount of $200,000, and I believe that we were able to acquire 4 police units. I might be off on my numbers, but I know for sure we can get 2 and possibly almost 3 with the 140,000.
Go for 3.
Thank you, Ms. Hawkes.
Absolutely.
Seeing no further comments or questions, we have a motion on the floor from Councillor Justin Salazar Torres and Councillor John Ritchie seconding. So can we take a roll call vote?
Counselor Didi Valdez,
In favor.
Counselor Justin Salazar Torres,
Absolutely in favor.
Mayor Pro Tem Dennis Tim Salazar,
Yes, for the motion.
Counselor Denise D. Benavides,
For the motion.
Counselor Manuel J. Martinez,
For the motion?
Counselor John L. Ritchie,
For the motion.
Counselor Peggy Sue Martinez.
In favor of the motion.
Motion carries.
Thank you very much. We'll now go on to letter K, a bar resolution 2020-28, a resolution of the City of Espanola to increase revenues and expenditures in the amount of $1,197,517 and $426,000 for CARES Act funding awarded for the assistance with expenses and costs due to COVID-19 pandemic. Ms. Hawkes.
Motion to approve. I'm sorry.
Well, we were going to have an explanation from Ms. Hawkes, so go ahead.
Sure. Honorable Mayor, members of the governing body, I'm here respectfully requesting approval of Resolution 2020-28 to establish budget authority for our recent CARES Act award that we received from the Department of Finance Administration. Again, this will be to offset expenses both locally and countywide due to the COVID-19 pandemic.
Motion to approve, Mayor?
Thank you very much. We have a motion for approval from Councilor
Second.
Manny Martinez and a second from Mayor Pro Tem Dennis Tim Salazar. Do we have any comments or questions?
A question, Mayor.
See over there, Councilor John Ritchie. Do you have your camera on?
What department or who will be managing the distribution of the funds, the requesting of the funds?
Ms. Hawkes?
Honorable Mayor, Councilor Ritchie, members of the governing body. It will be in conjunction with planning and land use, myself, and probably in collaboration with Rio Arriba County and Santa Fe County, as all of our projects do kind of intermingle together.
And follow up, there's a time frame for the expenditures, correct?
Yes, sir, that would be December 30th of this year.
And do we already have a budget or a proposal of expenditures already?
Somewhat, we're ironing the kinks as we speak.
What is our time frame?
My guess is we would like to establish these figures, solidify them, and kind of move forward. I would say at least by the end of next week. And what that'll do is allow us time for the grant agreement to actually get to DFA and become fully executed.
Excellent, thank you.
Of course.
Seeing no further comments or questions. Oh, and wait, we have Councilor Denise Benavides. Thank you so much. I can see your hand. Perfect.
Thank you, Mayor. I was going to already speak up and say, Mayor, don't miss me. I know. I just wanted to give a shout out to Director Hoopler, Planner Allison Delant, and Diana Hawkes for their hard work and diligence in ensuring that we got some money, and we did a great job at that. Just a quick comment, Mayor. I did notice in looking at the list that City of Santa Fe got money, as did County of Santa Fe. So I don't know if we were able to go after it like they did in that manner or not, or if you have any idea as to how they were able to accomplish that task.
Well, I think you bring up a good point, and that's why we've worked with both Rio Arriba County and Santa Fe County so that we can work together and use some of those county funds for the city on both sides. Mr. Hubler, do you have any further comments or anything that you'd like to add there as well?
Yes, sir, Mr. Mayor, members of the governing body, Councilor Benavides. So I suspect that part of your reference is to the rather large amounts that both Santa Fe City and County got. And partly that's obviously related to kind of the varied impact that COVID has had as far as what fed into their requests, as well as potentially the capacity for them to expend that amount of money. We're gonna get it done for sure, but we're gonna be a little bit hard pressed to spend all of our 1.5-ish million in the next 3 months. But we're certainly gonna get it done. I don't know honestly what we'd have done if we had 4 times that value. But as the mayor mentioned, the county is going to be, County of Rio Arriba is going to be serving a number of the citizens, obviously within Espanola, related to some of their programs they're having around housing support, for instance. They're exploring how to provide enhanced childcare, increased childcare. And so that's going to directly benefit, the citizens in the city of Espanola. And Santa Fe County is doing the same thing as well. They had also initially approached us about including some business support for those businesses within Santa Fe County, but we're still having those follow-up conversations around exactly what that looks like. We completed that discussion with Rio Arriba last Friday.
All right, thank you.
Thank you, Councilor. Okay, Councilor Manny Martinez.
Thank you, Mayor. First of all, Mr. Huber, that's a great background that you have there, sir. Just want to let you know that. Kind of goes with my Darth Vader back here. So I just want to let you know that, sir. For any business, small business that may be listening right now, who would they contact if they are interested in finding out how this might help them with their business? Who do they contact, and where can they get some info on it, sir?
Thank you, Councilor Martinez, members of the governing body. So that's a detail. One of the details that we're ironing out, as I indicated previously, is that our contractor to help us distribute the business funds is going to be doing some direct outreach, hopefully very, very soon. In the meantime, they're definitely welcome to contact our office. Probably Planner Allison Gillette would be the best person, and we can get their names on the list. She can be reached at 747-6082 or by email on the website. And folks can also just stop into our office, and then we'll make sure that that gets forwarded, as we really kick this into full steam over the next week or so.
Thank you, sir.
All righty. Thank you very much. So we have a motion and a second on the floor. We'd like to take a roll call vote, please. We'll get that started shortly. Ms. Serrano. Or she has not, we can't hear her voice. Maybe she's still on silent.
Okay. Counselor Didi Valdez,
Yes, for the motion.
Counselor Salazar Torres,
In favor.
Mayor Pro Tem Dennis Tim Salazar,
Can you repeat that one more time?
Mayor Pro Tem Dennis Tim Salazar. Did we lose him?
I think Mayor Pro Tem, I think you were on mute.
I don't see him on the.
Oh, he just fell off.
Okay. Counselor Denise D. Benavides,
In favor.
Counselor Manuel J. Martinez,
In favor of the motion?
Counselor John L. Ritchie,
In favor.
Counselor Peggy Sue Martinez.
Yes, in favor.
And I'm going to circle back around.
So I did just get a notification from Councillor Mayor Pro Tem Dennis Tim Salazar that his Wi-Fi just went off. He will try to log on as soon as possible. I don't want to take text as an official vote.
Right.
So
Motion carries 6-0.
the motion carries. Oh, wait a minute. He says he's back on. Let's see if he has that.
Mayor, okay, I'm back on. Can you hear me, sir?
We can hear you, and the race is off. Go ahead.
Okay. Mayor Pro Tem Dennis Tim Salazar.
Yes.
Motion carries 7-0 for clarification.
All right. Thank you very much, Councilor, for getting back on. We appreciate it. We'll now go on to Resolution 2020-29. A, acceptance of NMDOT award dedicating funding to Camino Miramontes. We have this presentation by Grants Manager, Ms. Diane Hawkes.
Honorable Mayor, members of the governing body, I'm here respectfully requesting approval of Resolution 2020-29A. And that is in acceptance of award, the NMDOT award in the amount of $216,000. This award consists of $162,000 provided by NMDOT with $54,000 provided by the city of Espanola as matching funds. This funding will be utilized to finalize the planning and design process for Camino Miramontes. And with any luck, we will have enough to get started on any possible environmental studies, anything like that preliminary or prior to the construction process.
Motion to approve, sir.
Second.
We have a motion for approval from Councillor Justin Salazar Torres and a second from Mayor Pro Tem Dennis Tim Salazar. Do we have any comments or questions? We have a question from Councillor Justin Salazar Torres or comment.
Thank you, Mayor. Just a comment, long overdue. Thank you, Mrs. Hawkins. We appreciate all you do. Thank you.
Thank you.
I'd also just like to make a quick commentary that a lot of the push from at least the state level has also come from Representative Joseph Sanchez, who's really been active in trying to get the city to be recognized by NMDOT and others to make sure that funding comes our way. So I really do want to place a great thank you to him for bringing us together and making sure that these projects get fulfilled. So I just wanted to throw that out there. Representative Sanchez, we appreciate it. Seeing no other further comments or questions, we have a motion on the floor from Councillor Justin Salazar Torres and a second from Mayor Pro Tem Dennis Tim Salazar. We can take a roll call vote, please.
Counselor Peggy Sue Martinez,
In favor of the motion?
Counselor John L. Ritchie,
In favor.
Counselor Manuel J. Martinez,
In favor of the motion?
Counselor Denise D. Benavides,
In favor.
Mayor Pro Tem Dennis Tim Salazar,
In favor?
In favor.
Counselor Didi Valdez.
In favor of the motion.
Motion carries.
And we'll now go on to the resolution 2020-29B, the acceptance of NMDOT award dedicating funding to Camino Miramontes. Is that the exact same thing? I know you just touched on it, but for clarification, Ms. Diane Hawkes.
Thank you, Honorable Mayor, members of the governing body. So Resolution 2020-29B is essentially for the same grant. However, 2029A, this resolution is for NMDOT purposes. 29B is to establish budget authority so that we can begin spending the money, and this resolution is for DFA.
So
Move to
moved.
approve.
We have a motion on the floor from Councillor Manny Martinez and a second from Councillor Justin Salazar Torres. And for the record, I believe that we now have Councillor John Ramon Vigil on at the meeting. So we will now entertain any questions or comment for the acceptance, Part B, for NMDOT award at Camino Miramontes. Seeing none, we'll move on to a roll call vote, please.
Counselor Didi Valdez,
In favor.
Counselor Justin Salazar Torres,
In favor.
Counselor John Ramon Vigil,
In favor of the motion.
Mayor Pro Tem Dennis Tim Salazar,
For the motion?
Counselor Denise D. Benavides,
In favor.
Counselor Manuel J. Martinez,
In favor?
Counselor John L. Ritchie,
In favor.
Counselor Peggy Sue Martinez.
In favor of the motion?
Motion carries.
Thank you very much. Now on to letter N, approval of memorandum of understanding between Espanola Public Schools and the City of Espanola Rio Arriba Community Empowerment Program. We have a presentation by Race Program Manager, Ms. Justine Valencia.
Good evening, Honorable Mayor, members of the council. I am here this evening respectfully seeking approval of the memorandum of understanding between Espanola Public Schools and the City of Espanola Project Race Program.
Motion to approve, sir.
Second.
We have a motion from Councillor Justin Salazar Torres and a second from Councillor John Ritchie. Do we have any discussion? Seeing none, we can take a roll call vote, please.
Counselor Peggy Sue Martinez,
In favor of the motion?
Counselor John L. Ritchie,
In favor of the motion.
Counselor Manuel J. Martinez,
In favor of the motion?
Counselor Denise D. Benavides,
In favor.
Mayor Pro Tem Dennis Tim Salazar,
For the motion?
Counselor John Ramon Vigil,
For the motion.
Counselor Justin Salazar Torres,
In favor.
Counselor Didi Valdez.
In favor.
Motion carries.
Very well. Now moving on to letter O, approval of the memorandum of understanding between McCurdy Charter School and the City of Espanola Rio Arriba Community Empowerment Program. Once again, Ms. Justine Valencia.
Thank you, Mayor, members of the council. Again, I am here this evening respectfully seeking approval of the memorandum of understanding between McCurdy Charter School and the City of Espanola Project Race Program.
I'd like to move.
Second.
Motion, sir?
We have a motion from Councillor Manny Martinez and a second from Mayor Pro Tem Dennis Tim Salazar. Do we have any comments or questions from councillors? Seeing none, can we take a roll call vote?
Counselor Didi Valdez,
In favor of the motion.
Counselor Justin Salazar Torres,
In favor.
Counselor John Ramon Vijil,
In favor of the motion.
Mayor Pro Tem Dennis Tim Salazar,
For the motion.
Counselor Denise D. Benavides,
For the motion.
Counselor Manuel J. Martinez,
In favor of the motion.
Counselor John L. Ritchie,
In favor.
Counselor Peggy Sue Martinez.
In favor of the motion.
Motion carries.
Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. We have now reached the end of our agenda. Do I hear a motion for adjournment?
Motion to adjourn, sir.
Second.
We have a motion from Counselor Justin Salazar Torres and a quick second from Counselor John Ritchie. We don't even need to take a roll call vote. All right. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. This meeting is now ended.
Good night.
Good night.
Night.
Good night.
Night.